Hello, and welcome to the turbulent world with me, James M. Dorsey, as your host. A Saudi push to become a major natural gas player is as much about diversifying the kingdom's domestic consumption and export mix as it is about cementing Saudi Arabia as a global geopolitical, economic, and energy player. It also is about capitalizing on harsh U.S. economic sanctions against Iran, designed to force a change in the Islamic Republic's policies. Iran is home to the world's second largest gas reserves after Russia. The Saudi push follows the kingdom's energy ministry, ordering state owned oil giant Saudi Aramco to shelve its 1 million barrel a day crude oil production capacity expansion plans. Gas is going to take quite a bit of the upstream spending because it's an important growth area, said Aramco CEO Amin Nasser. Earlier, Mr. Nasser noted that Aramco's international gas team has been given an open platform to look at gas acquisitions along the whole supply chain. They have been given significant financial firepower in the billions of dollars. Aramco increased its gas expansion goals by more than 60% for 2030 compared to 2021. This month, at an energy conference in Houston, Aramco Senior Executive Vice President for Gas, Abdul Karim Al Ghamdi, asserted that the company had first become a major player in liquefied natural gas, or LNG. Mr. Al Ghamdi was referring, among others, to Aramco's increase this month to 49% of its $500 million minority stake in Mid-Ocean Energy. In June, Aramco and NextDecade signed a 20-year non-binding agreement to buy 1.2 million tons of LNG annually from the U.S. company's Rio Grande LNG project in Brownsville, Texas. Aramco's acquisition followed the company's initial forays into gas trading several years ago. In 2019, it sold its first LNG cargo to an Indian buyer. And a year later, it sold again to Escort Oil Corp, South Korea's third largest refiner, in which Aramco has a majority stake. The trades and purchase agreements were designed to position Aramco as a major marketeer and trader in the spot and short-term markets. At the same time, Saudi Arabia was looking to become a gas exporter by investing billions of dollars in natural gas, including $25 billion in the Jafurah gas field. Jafurah is the kingdom's largest unconventional, non-oil associated gas field and potentially the biggest shale gas development outside the United States. Its reserves are estimated at 229 trillion cubic feet of gas and 75 billion barrels of condensate. Mr. Nasser, the CEO of Aramco, said the company was adding 4,000 kilometers of pipelines to Saudi Arabia's gas network. The pipelines would boost the network's capacity to 3.2 billion standard cubic feet per day. In May, Aramco awarded China Petroleum Engineering and Construction Company a key contract related to the kingdom's $12 billion expansion of its gas network. Even so, industry analysts wonder whether Saudi Arabia has enough gas to satisfy rising domestic demand as it moves away from burning crude oil and liquids for power generation and industry and positions the kingdom as one of the world's top exporters. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's vision for Saudi Arabia is for the kingdom to produce half its electricity from gas and half from renewables, as it moves towards a net zero target in 2060. Saudi Arabia, home to the world's fifth largest gas reserves, ranked seventh globally in domestic natural gas demand in 2018. The kingdom burns up to 500,000 barrels of crude oil per day for power generation, in addition to large amounts of fuel oil and diesel. At full capacity, Mr. Nasser hopes Aramco's shale gas program will replace crude in power generation. That may free up to 1 million barrels per day of liquids for export this way, said Middle East energy consultant Iman Nasseri. Alexandra Araman, another Middle East energy analyst, noted that Saudi shale projects were disadvantaged because their drilling costs were higher than those of comparable U.S. shale projects, but had the advantage of a higher condensate to gas ratio. While primarily driven by economics, energy politics, and the kingdom's ambition to be a dominant player in all sectors it engages in, the Saudi move comes as newly elected Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian seeks improved relations with the West to achieve sanctions relief that would allow Iran to increase its oil and gas exports. In 2018, US President Donald Trump withdrew from an international agreement that curbed Iran's nuclear program and reimposed crippling economic sanctions. Mr. Pezeshkian argues that sanctions relief is key to addressing Iran's economic crisis, which is as much a product of sanctions as of mismanagement and corruption. In a Chinese-staged deal, Saudi Arabia and Iran reestablished diplomatic relations in 2022. Long rivals for influence and power in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia broke off relations in 2016 after Iranian crowds ransacked the kingdom's diplomatic missions in protest against the execution of a prominent Saudi Shiite cleric. The restoration of diplomatic relations has reduced tension between the regional powers, but has done little to enhance confidence. Last week, Turki al-Faisal, a former Saudi intelligence chief and diplomat who often reflects Crown Prince Mohammed's thinking, called for stronger international action to halt Iranian support for Yemen's Houthi rebels. Mr. al-Faisal asserted that Iran's support for Lebanese Shiite militia Hezbollah, Hamas, and groups in Iraq and Syria violated understandings underlying the China-arranged restoration of diplomatic relations. The kingdom would have expected Iran to be more forthcoming in showing not just to us, but to others, that it can be a positive factor in securing stability and remaining differences, not just with Saudi Arabia, but the rest of us, Mr. al-Faisal said. Gaza may make economic sense for Saudi Arabia. From Mr. al-Faisal's perspective, it probably also makes sense for the kingdom not to cede gas dominance to Iran. Thank you for joining me today. Thousands across the globe are avid readers and listeners of the turbulent world. Join them in helping maintain and expand the column and podcast by becoming a paid supporter. Paid subscribers have access to the full archive, exclusive posts, and polling, can leave comments, join debates, and know they are supporting independent writing, reporting, and analysis that lets the chips fall where they fall. You can contribute by going to jamesmdorsey.substack.com and choosing one of the subscription options. Thank you for your support and loyalty. Take care and best wishes.